Okay, let's dive right into this. Welcome to today's Explainer, where we're going to unpack a truly transformative approach to your physical well-being. Today, we're looking at a fascinating program called the Infinite Bend Innovative Yoga for Lasting Flexibility. Look, if you've ever felt like your body is just, getting stiffer by the day, or if you're searching for a structured, evidence-based way to actually regain your mobility, well, you are in exactly the right place. We're going to break down this highly innovative, yet incredibly accessible yoga routine and give you the exact blueprint to start moving like a younger, stronger version of yourself.
So be honest with yourself right now. Can you touch your toes without bending your knees? If just the thought of that makes your hamstrings scream, trust me, you are absolutely not alone. Do your hips, your back, or maybe your shoulders feel constantly tight after sitting at a desk all day? It's honestly a modern epidemic. But the material we're exploring today presents a really compelling proposition. What if just 15 minutes of focused, innovative yoga could completely change that?
Here is our roadmap for today. We'll cover why flexibility matters, then move into the warm-up and spine flow, hips and balance, floor and relaxation, dive into the mechanics, and wrap up with the 14-day challenge. I promise you, understanding the flow of these specific 15 minutes a day can completely transform both your physical mobility and your mental relaxation.
Section 1. Why flexibility matters. Before we get into the actual physical movements, we really need to understand the underlying science in the crucial why behind maintaining a daily practice.
We so often think of flexibility as just a nice bonus, maybe something only gymnasts need to worry about, right? But the reality presented in our source material is so much more profound. Flexibility literally prevents injuries. Having mobile joints improves your everyday movement. Just doing something simple, like reaching for a heavy box on a high shelf, becomes so much easier. It actively reduces physical muscle tension and mental stress. Plus, it significantly enhances your posture, which directly reduces that nagging neck and back pain that so many of us deal with. And yes, it absolutely boosts athletic performance. The harsh reality we all have to face is that we naturally lose flexibility as we age, but the brilliant news here is that regular, structured yoga can actively slow this process down and drastically improve your overall quality of movement.
Moving on to Section 2, Warm-up and Spine Flow. This is the very first mini-flow of the routine, expertly designed to safely prepare your body and awaken the spine before we demand more from your muscles. Let's walk through these initial 3 poses. First, you start with the mountain flow. You're standing tall, taking deep breaths, and raising your arms overhead. Now, this isn't just standing around. It actively improves your posture and engages your core, really prepping the body for what's next. Then we move to the dynamic cat-cow, and this brilliantly illustrates the innovative part of this routine. Instead of just the traditional up and down arching of the back, the source introduces this gentle side-to-side spinal movement. Moving slowly with your breath here drastically increases spinal mobility, and it's specifically designed to relieve deep-seated back stiffness. Finally, you transition right into a flowing downward dog, where you alternately pedal your feet. This targets and stretches those tight calves and hamstrings while simultaneously building strength in your shoulders. It is a highly efficient 3-step opening sequence.
All right, Section 3, Hips and Balance. Once your spine is nice and warm, the sequence systematically shifts focus to opening up tight hips and building some necessary physical stability.
Now this is where the flow gets a bit more dynamic. Step 1 here is the twisting low lunge. You step forward, drop into a lunge, and then rotate your upper body. This dual action pose aggressively opens up the hips while continuing to improve your spinal flexibility. Then we have the moving warrior flow. The key here is the transition itself. By actively shifting between Warrior 1 and Warrior 2, you are actively building balance and further opening up hip mobility. Finally, you challenge that stability with the half-moon balance, lifting one leg parallel to the floor and extending one arm straight upward. This sequence is basically a masterclass in stacking benefits. Transitioning from the grounded lunge all the way up to the half-moon balance builds both crucial physical stability and serious core strength.
Section 4, Floor and Relaxation. So after generating all that heat and balance, the routine smoothly guides you down to the floor for the final, calming segment of this 10-pose sequence.
Let's summarize these 5 grounding poses. You start seated with the butterfly stretch, bringing the soles of your feet together and gently moving your knees. This relaxes the inner thighs and opens the hips even further. Next is a seated forward fold. The goal here isn't to force it, but to gently reach forward, improving hamstring flexibility while really beginning to calm the mind. Then you lie back for the happy baby pose, holding your feet. It's an incredible movement to actively release tension in the lower back while maintaining that hip flexibility. Next up is the bridge pose flow.
where you slowly lift and lower your hips to strengthen the back and open up the chest. Finally, you end with the reclining twist, gently dropping your knees to both sides, which actively releases any remaining tension in the spine. Notice how movements like the happy baby and reclining twist are intentionally positioned right at the end of your routine. They actively release lower back tension and perfectly prepare your mind for rest.
That brings us to Section 5, the mechanics. Let's shift our focus away from just what the body is doing to how your breath should be actively driving every single one of these movements.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the actual mechanics of progress. On the do side, we see the foundation. You must inhale to expand the chest, and exhale specifically to release tension. The source material emphasizes that breathing deeply is exactly what helps your muscles relax so they can stretch more effectively. Contrast that with the don't side. These are the most common harmful mistakes people make. Holding your breath literally deprives your stretching muscles of oxygen. And pushing through pain? Well, that is a guaranteed ticket to injury. Remember, you want to feel a stretch, absolutely not pain. Building on those physical mechanics, here we outline the mental and structural pitfalls you really need to avoid. First, comparing yourself with others. Look, your flexibility is your own journey. Looking at someone else's mat does absolutely nothing for your body. Second, rushing through poses. This flow is explicitly designed for mindful movement, not speed. And third, ignoring proper alignment just to reach a little bit further. Gently remind yourself of the golden rule here. Yoga is about progress, not perfection.
I want to pause on this quote from the text because it perfectly anchors the entire lesson. Think of your body like a tree. A tree that bends with the wind survives the storm, while one that is rigid may break. This is just such a powerful metaphor. The explainer here is making the point that flexibility isn't just about elongating muscle fibers so you can show off and touch your toes. It is fundamentally about adaptation. It's about being able to absorb the physical shocks of daily life, like tripping on a curb or lifting a heavy box, and surviving life's mental storms without snapping under the pressure.
And finally, Section 6, the 14-day challenge. This is where theory becomes practice, challenging you to put this 15-minute daily flow to the test.
Just look at this 14-day progression. The single most important step is day 1. You do not need to be naturally flexible to start on day 1. The text is very clear that you simply need the willingness to begin. For all of week 1, your only job is to focus on learning the poses, get the mechanics right, figure out the transitions, and understand where your baseline is. Then, as you move into week 2, you level up. You do this by increasing your hold times in each pose and really dialing in that deep, tension-releasing breathing we talked about.
So, why should you actually commit to this 14-day timeline? Well, just review these impressive scientific and physical benefits. We are talking about noticeably better posture and greatly reduced daily stiffness. You'll see a measurable increase in your flexibility and joint mobility. But beyond just the muscles, regular practice improves your blood circulation and your physical balance. And perhaps most importantly for so many of us, it acts as a lever to lower your stress levels, promote better sleep, and increase your overall mental clarity and body awareness. I mean, that is an incredible return on investment for just 15 minutes a day.
I want to conclude our explainer today with this final thought straight from the source. Flexibility is earned through consistency, patience, and mindful movement. It's not some magic gift you either have or you don't. It's a physical state that you earn over time. So carve out those 15 minutes and ask yourself, if just a quarter of an hour a day is the difference between a body that breaks and a body that bends, what are you going to do with your next 15 minutes? Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive, and I really hope this gives you the exact tools you need to start moving with greater ease, confidence, and energy.